malt beverages and wine only. The first item, Mr. Chairman, Robin E. Dupel of the Cobblestones, 91 Dutton Street for Sunday, August 28th. Apparently, the company that's requesting the use of the Shed Park Pavilion for this coming Sunday had contacted the Parks Department sometime today, this morning, and indicated that they would like to reschedule that event for Sunday. And so Robin had mentioned that to me in an email. I had contacted the Parks Recreation Office. They confirmed that there is a request to change the date of the event because of, alleged weather. Anticipated weather.
Okay.
Anyways, so she's, at the moment, that is being held up till we get a new date. She anticipates coming before the board on September the 8th.
Okay.
Also, we have Stanley Trzynski of the Lowell Firefighters Association for an event at the club grounds at 362, 364 Fletcher Street. It's a firefighters outing, and that's for Saturday, September 17th, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Richard S. Barrett of the Kilkenny Pub for a tent enclosed area at the parking lot of Kilkenny Pub at 660 Rogers Street. This being a halfway to St. Patrick's Day for Saturday, September 17th, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Also, Mr. Chairman, this morning I received applications from the director of a Holy Ghost Society, Maria Bernardo, looking for all alcoholic one-day licenses for upcoming events that the Holy Ghost Society has scheduled for the grounds of Holy Ghost Park. That would be for a 50th birthday party for Saturday, August 27th from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Also, Holy Ghost Park will be the venue for the annual Lowell Feast, which will start next Saturday, September 3rd. And that Saturday event will be 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Also, Maria Bernardo for the Sunday of the Loretto Feast, Sunday, September 4th, 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. And last is the date for Loretto Feast on Monday, September 5th, from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, would the individuals that are here come to the mic, please? Robin, no. Stanley? Is Stanley here? Yeah, okay, Stanley. Richard Barrett? Maria? Okay.
Please go ahead.
Introduce yourself for the record, please.
I'm Stanley Trzynski, manager, Lowell Firefighters Club.
Okay?
Richard Barrett, owner of Kilkenny Pub.
Okay?
My name Maria Bernard, director the Holy Ghost och Spirit Sant.
Okay?
Yes.
Have you ever had the liquor license in your name before?
Yes, like, no.
No. I don't want to, I'm curious as to why would she step forward? Are we at a point now where we've used up all our one-day life? I mean, I'm not saying that the woman doesn't understand, but she obviously had to turn to you to understand whether she had the license before or not. That tells me, hello, she doesn't know.
Well, most of the time we're all there with her.
Pull the mic down, man. What's your name?
My name is Carmen Crapian. I'm one of the treasurers from the Holy Ghost Society.
Okay.
The reason why she steps aside with most of the other members, they're afraid to take the license as a risk. And Fernando already took up the 30 license. We were going to have Fernando Borba, but unfortunately he had a family emergency that he left. He's only actually coming back tomorrow. That he was supposed to step up to take the rest of the year. But because the hearing was today, Maria Asvid took for the 3 license that we had up front on the last minute. So,
Okay, but don't you feel you're taking advantage of this lady?
oh, I'm not. She's American citizen,
But she could take it.
you know.
Carmen.
What about you? Why don't you take it?
I'm a business owner, and
Okay.
I'm afraid
I understand that.
it's a
I can
bigger
appreciate that.
liability.
But this lady might have a house.
She's actually my
Family?
mom.
She's your mom.
Yes.
So we're throwing mom under the bus.
No, not really, but we would be there all the time.
You're going to be there with her.
99% of the time I'm
No,
there
not
every day of the week.
99%.
100%.
Mom has no experience handling alcohol.
Okay.
Mom has no experience, and I'm sure she doesn't, and nothing personal,
Oh, no,
but
it's
you don't
okay.
look like a graduate of Dale Carnegie's course of aggressiveness. And you need to be aggressive once in a
Right.
while and say, turn the music down.
Which we have done
Turn it
the
down,
past week,
you know?
yeah.
And then if they don't pay attention, you get a 4x4 and you whack them side the head like you did when they were little kids. Pay attention. There was no deficit disorder in my
Okay.
day. My father would thump you in the side of the head. You'd pay attention. You didn't need any pills.
That was back then. These days, if
Okay?
you did that, we get
You
in
need
trouble.
to know. You need
Okay.
to know. You're in a community out there. You're in a neighborhood.
Right.
Okay? I just don't want to see your mom in here and everybody outraged and ripping and roaring because they were kept awake all weekend or that there was a bad accident or you've done a good job at policing yourself. I went by there last week. You
Which,
know,
yes.
I have friends that live over there.
Right, which we did, we calm everything down, like I told you, most
did
of
a
the
great
time I'm
job.
always there, so that's why if I figure if my mom take over,
I mean, when they first built that neighborhood wasn't that developed. Now,
Right.
you're in Belvedere.
Yeah, I know.
And when you say that in Lowell, you should bow your head just by the very saying of the word, Belvedere.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful, right?
Right.
We should annex it to Tewksbury and we'd all be a hell of a lot happier. But anyways, the point being is you can't keep these people awake.
we try our best. Last week we brought it
No
inside.
such thing as
yeah.
trying.
No, we're gonna
Gotta
do
tell
our
Mom.
best,
If we grant this license to her,
yes.
you're going to be there with her, make sure she
Oh,
has
yeah.
the support that she's going to need.
I actually
looks
run the
like-
bar too,
She looks
so-
like the good old, the
No.
typical grandmother that would, you know, of course, some
Believe me,
grandmothers.
she has a temper,
Okay, good for her.
yes. No, but I promise, I'll be there like, I'm the treasurer, but also in charge of
I
all the
appreciate
liquor and the bar, which I bartender all week long.
Okay,
So most of the time, I'm always there.
I appreciate that.
So
I just don't
if
want to see
that's
her
okay
be
with you,
responsible for something that, I
no,
don't, you know.
we'll be on top of it. So my other sister's also a director too, so we always on top of her and make sure
Okay.
we go by law,
All right.
figure it to the law.
Fireman's Club. What are you going to do? You going to close an area or
Yes, we'll just put a fence around,
around where?
just around the back, around like where the monument is. We go out the back door, the double door, cook
Okay.
hot dogs and serve beers.
All right, so it's just that little area?
Yeah, well, in front also, like we did last year.
All right,
It's Fletcher Street, not Fletcher Street, we don't touch Fletcher Street.
you don't.
Just cross street.
Do you block the street?
No, sir.
No, you just go to the sidewalk.
Yes.
Okay. Richard?
I'm gonna get the tent, like on St. Patrick's Day or whatever, smaller scale or whatever.
Come up to the mic, please.
Yeah,
We
sorry.
want to hear your words of wisdom.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna get the tent and, try to have like a miniature St. Patrick's Day party. I've never done it, but people have asked through the years and stuff.
This is halfway to St. Patrick's.
Yeah, gonna,
This like going to be half as much trouble?
yes, yeah, and half
It
as
is.
many people, hopefully.
I don't think
Yeah,
so. It better not be.
Yeah.
And again,
No.
you're in a neighborhood,
No, I understand, yeah.
okay?
No, no.
And I think that, people might look a little easier upon it if it was St. Patrick's Day. It's kind of like the first time you hear the music. Yeah, really, it's not bad. But after you play it the 15th time and all of a sudden it's keeping the kids awake and the noise volume starts growing, somebody, hey, wait a minute, this isn't St. Patty's Day. I can tolerate this, it's, you guys can come out once a year. That's it.
Yeah, no, I don't want
We
any
let you
problems.
out, you put on your green, 24 hours later, you're back away, right?
Yes,
All right, so we're gonna just put on half the green.
yes.
All
No,
right.
I live right behind there too, so I mean, I don't want any problems. I deal with the neighbors all the
Okay.
time or whatever.
All right. Anything?
No, other than I think Belvedere is a great part of the city of Lowell.
I don't know, I'm wondering, should we make a formal motion to cede Belvedere to the town of Tewksbury?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, they're all up there, they're looking at, Okay,
Thank you.
next on the agenda. Some
those-
of you are getting sound, so just stay right here.
Commission now take up matters to do with sound amplification regarding special event permits. starting with Prima Nagathan of the Enterprise Bank for a disc jockey with sound system, for an ice cream social for Enterprise Bank employees on Thursday, September 1, from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. outside the office of the Enterprise Bank at Merrimack and Shaddocks Streets. Richard Barrett of Kilkenny Pub for the sound system for band and disc jockey halfway to St. Patrick's Day, September 17th from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. in a tent-enclosed area in the parking lot adjacent to Kilkenny Pub. Also for the events scheduled at Holy Ghost Park, Loretta Feast, Maria Bernardo for sound system for band or disc jockey, Saturday, September 3rd from 5 p.m. to 12 midnight, Sunday, September 4th from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., and Monday, September 5th from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Introduce yourself for the record, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Prema Nagathan, Safety and Security Administrator for Enterprise Bank.
Okay.
Richard Barrett, owner of Kilkenny Pub.
Okay. Well, Maria. Okay.
My name Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Diretas,
bless you.
my name Maria Bernardo. I diretas no Holy Ghost Park.
Okay. Sound amplification. Real simple. It's a common sense license. That's the way to describe it. If the people 3 blocks away can hear it like they were standing next to it, obviously something's wrong. So, govern yourself accordingly. Every once in a while, take a walk. Make sure you can,
That's my question. What is the amplifiers? Because when we took a walk halfway through our parking lot, the amplifiers was 68. So they were told us that as long as at the end of the parking lot, if it's up to 80, it's good.
I believe that was, do you remember?
So I don't know, I'm not aware because the police officer told us.
Just
Go
for your
ahead.
information, the problem we've heard on complaints is that the fact that the sound travels. So no matter
Okay.
what you think is reasonable within a,
They told us 80 on the middle of the parking lot with the machine.
it's not necessarily a fixed number
Okay,
on that. What you need to understand is that the sound can travel across a wide area,
okay.
particularly depending on the type of evening it is. It could be a cold night, and sound will have a tendency to maybe travel better than if it's
Okay.
a hot and humid night. But I can't say with certainty that's the case. But the point is, I would trust that the Lowell Police Department would inform the detail that's working the events if they have calls and complaints on problems with the sound going across into certain parts of Belvedere or Tewksbury, that you would respond accordingly.
Well, we did.
just-
We went with the police officer, we took a measurement with the meter.
Right,
The
well,
meter,
Go to the end of where the Janus rink and the Colley Stadium. the
which
end
it
of the
was
park.
not even, it was very low. The machine didn't
It's
read.
okay there, then you're gonna
It's
be
gonna be
okay.
okay.
But they said, no, at 1:30, we had to shut
If the
down.
policeman says to you, then we've gotten a complaint, you turn it down.
We did. We turned
Okay.
it, we actually brought it inside because at 1:30 in the
I
afternoon.
like inside. I like inside. Inside's
We have
nice.
a function, so it's hard to keep all
Okay.
the people that drinks and stuff
Any
to damage
questions?
the place.
Question.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay,
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
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 thank you.
You're welcome.
Commission now open a hearing on a matter to do with canceling of a all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license that had been granted to Louis Ibarra, doing business at Delicious Paces Bakery and Restaurant at 392 Bridge Street. Mr. Chairman, earlier this year, approximately February of 2011, Mr. Ibarra had requested an all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license, and he also requested an entertainment license. And the commission granted such licenses with conditions, particularly the hours of operation. It wasn't until in July, when notice came from the Alcohol Beverages Control Commission that they had approved the application for the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license. Presently, Mr. Ibarra has a beer and wine, malt beverage and wine only restaurant license for 392 Bridge Street. He would be required to surrender that beer and wine license, and he would have to pay the difference in license fee in order to be issued the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license. He cannot have two licenses for the same premises at the same time. The status right now is Mr. Ibarra has, until this moment in time, failed to respond to requests for an additional license fee of $1,000 to make up the difference in order that the all-alcoholic license be issued.
Did you send him a request, certified? He's here. Oh, he's here. Come right up, sir. Introduce yourself for the record.
Yes, my name is Luis Ibarra, owner of the Delicious Spices Bakery Restaurant on Bridge Street.
Okay. What's the status on this license?
Right now, I got the beer and wine license only.
Right?
And it took me time to think about it, getting the, applying, paying the extra $1,000 for the whole alcoholic beverage license. But now, I'm sure that I want to go ahead and pay that $1,000.
You are or you aren't? You are or you aren't? Pay it. You are going to pay it?
Yeah, I'm going to pay
When?
$1,000 tomorrow. Tomorrow with a bank check.
Okay, so if it's not paid tomorrow,
It has to be a bank check, Mr. Chairman, to the city of Lowell for $1,000. It has to be in the office tomorrow.
I'm going to make a motion that,
Okay.
we give him till 24 hours, till tomorrow. And if he doesn't show up with a check, we cancel the license. So can we do that? He's got to come in with a bank check, right? No?
I think the thing that frustrates, us is that you haven't responded to Mr. Witt.
Yeah.
He's contacted you numerous times, and you just haven't done anything until you got here today. And if you're a license holder in the city, if the license commission secretary contacts you, that's your first priority, is to get back to him. And the fact that it took you until today to come here after numerous requests doesn't look good in your establishment,
Yes, I know.
okay? So that check has to be in the office tomorrow. A bank check made payable to the city of Lowell for $1,000. If not, we'll move to revoke your license,
Okay.
right?
I'll get the check
Make that a
tomorrow.
motion.
Yeah, that the money is received by
Yep.
close of business tomorrow, or that the
Or
all alcohol license is revoked.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor, say yes?
Yes.
Yes, you've got till tomorrow,
Yes, thank you, sir.
okay?
All right.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Superintendent of Police Kenneth LaValle is here presently, and with Captain Webb of the Police Department, to present to you the Lowell Police Crime Analysis Report, starting with effective January 1st of this year through August 15th. There are individuals here present, I believe, to address the board on that subject.
Come up and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Ken LaValle. I'm the superintendent of the Lowell Police Department. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to speak to you this afternoon. I know that you received this report, and as a result of your review of these matters, you've invited me to come and speak to you so I can talk about some of the concerns we have in downtown Lowell. Of course, you know Captain Webb, who is our liaison to the License Commission. I'm also with Captain Kevin Sullivan, who is the commander of what we call the East Sector in the Lowell Police Department, which encompasses downtown Lowell as well. We have recognized in the police department over the last several months a marked increase in the violence and the disorder, vandalism, and other acts of criminal activity in downtown Lowell. And our officers, the officers here today and other officers, and even I, have recognized and have noticed and have seen a tremendous uptick in the presence of young people in particular, visiting establishments in downtown Lowell and enjoying themselves, but sometimes, unfortunately, this enjoyment leads to other issues which are a major concern to the police department. We have recognized that there has been an 82% increase from this time period last year to this year in the number of incidents that have occurred in downtown. We've also seen a significant increase in the number of arrests. Last year at this time, there were 55 incidents and 20 arrests in downtown Lowell as a result of disorder. And this year it's gone to 100 incidents and 64 arrests. And specifically, there are 4 locations that have seen an increase in activity, places that we know who have serve alcoholic beverages where some of the activity has been quite significant. Those 4 locations are Hookslide Kelly's, the Village Smokehouse, Brian's Ivy Hall, and the Blue Shamrock.
Superintendent,
Yep.
is this in the form, or are we receiving a complaint today and asking us to revoke their licenses?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, not at all. That's not why I'm here. I'm here, if you would, I'm here to ask you to join me and the city council to establish a plan to work with these establishments so that we can have an impact on this disorder in downtown Lowell. I'm not here to, at this point in time, cause any undue hardship to any of these establishments. I've worked with them in the past, and they have been amenable to suggestions that the police department has made. They attend on a regular basis the meetings that we have here at City Hall with the downtown residents and other business owners. I believe 3 of them are represented here today at this particular meeting. I believe that the Shamrock is here. I believe Brian's Ivy Hall, and I also believe Hookslide Kelly's is present as well, but I'm not sure about the Village Smokehouse. So that indicates to me that they are certainly willing to establish a dialogue and work with us to see if we can curtail some of these incidents. I will tell you that I have reached out to them, and they were all present at a meeting, including the Village Smokehouse, just a few months ago or a few weeks ago, prior to the folk festival. And I told them what was going on, and I requested their help, and they all addressed the crowd, and they had certain, they had some, I don't want to say the word excuses, but they tried to explain why these things were happening and what was happening in their establishments. But it's very difficult for me to understand why this increase is so significant. And I think that what we need to do is look at a business plan that these establishments have that would hopefully be beneficial to decreasing the activity in downtown and putting them back where they used to be. And I honestly think that a viable downtown, a downtown you want to go to, that you want to eat at, you want to visit a liquor establishment, if there's disorder there, if there's the potential for violence, if people are going to be hurt, people are less likely to go there. I think people are less likely to go to a downtown or an area of enjoyment where there's a lot of problems and a lot of disorder. So I will tell you that the police department has done its part in trying to control this. We have spent in excess of $42,000 so far this calendar year in overtime for officers to try to keep a lid on downtown activity. Despite that, these activities continue. And what else is very concerning to me is that there's a number of incidents that are taking place away from these 4 establishments, and other establishments as well. I'm sure there are problems elsewhere, but these 4 seem to stand out. And these incidents occur particularly at closing time at 2 a.m. when these places let out and people gather out on the street, or they're walking back to their cars, or they're going to the parking garage, and disturbances break out. It could be a fight amongst people from 2 different establishments. I'm not 100% sure. We can't attribute those fights and those crimes to any particular place because these people are no longer there. They're now out on the street. I really truly believe that the officers of the Lowell Police Department are at risk here. I really think that with our staffing level as it is and the number of people we have on duty, it is very difficult to control these large crowds. For example, this past weekend, there was an incident of multiple shots fired on Queen Street. that our officers were actually present on the scene when the shots started being fired. In addition to that, there was a major fire in Centerville, all at about 1:30 in the morning. So when all these incidents took place, there was obviously a resource issue, and what was left to control downtown was very minimal. So we understand and appreciate the fact that other neighborhoods in the city are being impacted by what's happening in downtown, and we certainly need to understand that it appears to me that other parts of the city are paying the price in terms of police resources when it comes to putting a lid on the trouble in downtown Lowell. The other thing that I think is important to note is that we have done, you've seen the report, it's pretty significant. There have been multiple allegations of people with false IDs in these establishments, or some of them. There's been allegations of, and we have found, and we brought to your attention complaints, and we brought to the ABCC complaints about these activities. I will tell you that there is a significant number of individuals being arrested in downtown who don't live in Lowell. At these 4 establishments, the 4 I just mentioned, 47% of the people arrested in this time frame don't live in the city of Lowell. And in all of the arrests, of the total number of arrests, 36% are from out of town as well. What this tells me is that Lowell is a destination for last call. It appears to me that because Lowell has a 2 a.m. Closing time, that many of the people, young people who are in the outer fringes of the city and other towns around Lowell, whose hours are much earlier in terms of closing, 12 or 1, are headed to Lowell for that last call. And that, I think, has been very problematic for us, because I know that this period of time from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. is when really things start to heat up, and that's when we see we're having a lot of problems. And at 2 o'clock, the bars close, and then, of course, we're dealing with the issues on the street, and it becomes problematic. So that is something that we need to consider. I will tell you that there has been some reference to the police details, and I can tell you that a police detail is not the solution in every time. I mean, if we say, well, hire a police detail and then all the problems will go away, that's just not true. I will tell you that the Village Smokehouse does not hire a police detail. I know they're not mandated or required to, but they don't. I'll tell you that Brian's Ivy Hall does, but not every detail gets filled. There are times when we just don't have the personnel available to work a job. The Blue Shamrock does hire a detail, but there are times when they're not filled, and the Hooks Like Kelly's does as well. But it's significant that they've been hiring police details since 2006 at Hooks Like Kelly's. And so it's been very consistent right up until now. Police details have been assigned there, and there's usually assigned, an officer assigned there. But prior to the current management at Hooks Like Kelly's, there were very few arrests and very few incidents there. The Hooks Like Kelly's problem seems to have really taken off after the new management took over. And since then, there's been a marked increase in the number of arrests and incidents of disorder at Hooks Like Kelly's, regardless of the presence of a police detail. So I don't think that you can point at a police detail and say that's the panacea, that's the solution. It isn't always a solution. I think that the people who live downtown, the people who work downtown, when their automobiles get vandalized, when people are urinating in their alleys, when there's, crazy, drunken individuals yelling and screaming and fighting, it really has an impact on the environment that these people are subjected to, and where they live and where they try to sleep, and it really has, it's very much a problem for them. So I think we need to look at the current status of the closing time, the 2 a.m. closing. Is there a solution to that? Can we somehow prevent this kind of rush into the city when places and outside the city close and come into downtown? Can we look at potentially some solutions that can be collaborative, that we can work together? I'm certainly willing to do that, but I think we need some cooperation, and we need cooperation from everybody here. We just can't have a few bars cooperating and not the others. And I think that one of the things that we need to look at is the preventative piece, the proactive piece. I just can't understand and appreciate as much as we try and as much as we implore the people who own these establishments that over-serving is a problem. People are really getting intoxicated. And as a result of that intoxication, it's creating these problems, quite truthfully. So I have, this report was forwarded to the city council, and they took it under advisement last week. They've referred it to the Public Safety Subcommittee for further discussion, which will take place on September 13th. When the report was sent to the council in their packet, the Lowell Sun received that as well. That's an automatic when they, any of the information forwarded to the Sun is forwarded to the newspaper for the next meeting. So that was the article that appeared in today's paper about the discussions we were going to have today and the ones I'll have with the city council. But we definitely need to look at and hope to engage in a dialogue that will be beneficial to everybody involved. And hopefully, by doing that, we can put an end to this type of disorder in downtown and make the downtown a better place and a more viable environment.
Okay, thank you.
Superintendent, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I know that the city has been cutting into your budget every year and that you're not at full staffing for authorized personnel. What percentage are you under strength right now for authorized police officers? And would having more police officers or being at full manning make it easier to fill some of these problems and devote more resources to downtown security and safety?
Well, I think that there's no doubt that we have been understaffed for quite some time. The original, we were actually at one point, we're up to 260 sworn personnel. Right now, our staffing is 230 sworn personnel, but there is a significant number less than that because of either injury leave, military deployments, officers who are out sick, on sick leave, and other reasons like that. So they're probably operating right now, I can't give you a specific number, but we're probably operating at about 215 to 220 sworn personnel. Now, included in that number is about 8 officers in the Lowell Police Academy, and obviously they're not functioning on the street, so that even decreases it even more. The other thing is if we had more staffing, we could probably be more of a likelihood that we could fill more details. Unfortunately, we just don't have the resources. The city doesn't have the money. It's a situation where our budget is very, very tight. That's why the $42,000 expenditure in overtime is very much a concern to me. And I'm trying to be as clever as I can when it comes to spending these resources, and I'm utilizing a lot of grant money as well from the federal and the state government, but it certainly is a problem. But I don't foresee, even if we were given carte blanche tomorrow and the city manager said, pull your staffing up to 260, police academy wouldn't be getting going for several months, and then by the time those officers are trained or on the street as full-fledged police officers, we're talking a minimum of a year away, if maybe longer.
I understand you. I mean, 215 with 8 people in that count being in the academy. I mean, that puts you nearly 20% under strength. And I'm just wondering if maybe there's something we could do as far as earmarking licensing fees to go strictly to downtown law enforcement.
That is certainly a thought that I would entertain if it was something that would be allowable under the law. I don't know. I know that they made that attempt in Lawrence, and it really was not successful because it turned out that
clearly we don't want to end up in Lawrence issues right now. Right. So.
Yeah, I mean, the Lawrence issues are very problematic, as you know. So I can't say for sure if that would work, but any extra resources would be helpful. Certainly, the officers that we're hiring, extra officers we're hiring to patrol downtown on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights are coming out of the city budget. If we had available pool of money, that would be beneficial. But even those officers, though, that it's starting to, it's getting to a point where they're getting burnt out because it seems every weekend they're rolling around and trying to bring this disorder under control, and it's really been very, very difficult for them.
Chief, there's some of the downtown people want to speak. Why don't we do that?
Sure, absolutely.
I'd like to respond to you, so.
Not a problem.
Who would like to be first? Come up, introduce yourself, and give us your address.
Kathleen Marson, 200 Market Street. I'm the president of the Downtown Neighborhood Association. I don't even know what to add to Chief LaValle's remarks, except that twice in the last 2 months, I've had 2 neighbors move out of my building.
Yeah.
And I've approached them and said to them, why are you moving? They love the neighborhood, love the neighbors. And both of them said, just like almost verbatim, the demographic has changed. I'm moving out of this neighborhood.
Okay.
It really shocked me, but
Do you know that we meet on Thursday?
I'm sorry?
Are you aware of the fact that we meet every other Thursday?
I am, and I...
Have you ever appeared before us before?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yes.
Okay.
And I will tell you that, that's one of the things, we're trying to think, what would make it easier, what would make it better to communicate with the bars. The chief has his meetings, and those things are great. Having meetings at a different time where people who had concerns, I can't tell you what I went through to be here today, as far as my job is concerned. But I mentioned at the last meeting with the chief, from a taxpayer perspective,
Right.
This is a lot of money that we're spending. And I can't understand, we have like fabulous restaurant owners, fabulous bar owners, we have great neighborhood, it's a great atmosphere, and it's just like a small handful of establishments that are I think, really keeping other businesses even from moving into downtown. People are just saying, it's getting worse, I'm not moving there. I remember the 80s. Downtown was a ghost town. I know there was no residents here
Tell me in
then.
your own words, ma'am, why did you move into downtown Lowell?
Incredibly...
Why don't you move up near, like, Lowell Cemetery where it's nice and quiet, no trains,
No.
Belvedere?
You know why I moved
Why?
here? Because when I was a tween, I used to spend a lot of time downtown. You'd get on the bus with my brothers, come to the movies, go bowling. Now you know
Where
how.
were you before?
When I lived in Chelmsford, we used to take the bus downtown, go to the
Okay.
movies, go bowling.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, we used to always come down here to shop. Now you know how old I am. There was a bowling alley downtown. So to me, it was just, like a great way to get out of the suburbs, great place to be in a much more vibrant community.
Okay.
And it's great.
All right.
So I hate to see this kind of activity really take away from a really nice place.
Thank you.
So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Hi,
Hi.
Chandra Perry, 30,
Pull the mic down. Thank you.
short. Chandra Perry, 33 Middle Street. I've been here before, and I want to point something out. I was at a Lowell Downtown Neighborhood Association meeting just this past week, and a comment was made. People were complaining about what's going on downtown, the increase in the crime, and somebody made a comment about it coming before the commission. And one of the people there said, well, they won't do anything about it. I stood up and I said, wait a minute, the system works. I'm proof of that. It takes a while. You can't go in and have things work right away, but it worked. My concern is that I moved here 5 years ago, and I was kind of forced to because of finances. And I came here and I fell in love with it. I like all that the downtown has to offer. I bought my condo here. And I'm concerned when, on a Saturday morning, I come out of my condo and there's vomit on my front step. And our building also has a couple of businesses. And one of the businesses is a hair salon. And she had clients that morning. There was vomit all over the place. One of the plants had been ripped down off of the pole on Middle Street. They'd taken it down and ripped it apart. There are reports that are naked people in the streets, people being thrown out of establishments, bleeding and having to call an ambulance themselves. I think, in my opinion, one of the problems is taking a drunk person and throwing them out of a bar. They're going to be angry, and there's alcohol involved. Those things don't mix. They're going to walk away from that establishment, and cars get vandalized. You know, things happen. And if I'm going to continue to live downtown, I think that something has to be done, because I've progressively seen it get worse. I came here 5 years ago, and it just wasn't like that. And you know, I want the bars to be held accountable. Another thing I want to say, I read the article in the Lowell Sun today, and one of the bar, I don't know, manager, owner, said something about, well, these people come in and we're being penalized because we're hiring details or cops, and these people are getting unruly in our businesses. Well, yeah, you should be penalized. Your people are over-serving them.
Okay, we're going to address that in a minute, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else?
My name is Stephen Green. I reside at 181 Market Street. I have been here before. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Have.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you.
How many times you been here, Steve?
Well, I've lost track, and I sort of dropped
We
off.
lost track, too.
Dropped
You
off.
wouldn't let anybody sit in your chair.
Well, but part of the reason that my level of involvement dropped off is because as a single individual, even though I was trying to represent the neighborhood, and I am vice president of the Downtown Neighborhood Association with under Kathleen's leadership, I was only one voice. And we need to have a way to help bring more information from the downtown citizens who are being adversely impacted. But they can't come to the meetings because meetings at 3 o'clock are very difficult for people who have work schedules that may not allow them.
They have a thing, they call it email. I don't use it. I don't know how to use it. But I know there are people in the office here that read their emails. And I mean...
Okay, if we can bring...
You know yourself, almost every meeting we ever have, at the end of the meeting, I would say to the general public on television, is there anything else anybody wants to bring up? I usually would ask Jack if there's anything the police department's concerned about or whatever. People, you know, just to dispute you for a second on that, I was the original starter of Crime Stoppers. I was the president and CEO. I took all the time I could going out to neighborhood meetings with cards and placards and saying, all you got to do is call this number. The police can't trace it back. There's no way they can find out who made the phone call. All you got to do is call this number. And it's on the buses, and it was all over the city. I'm sorry, but I have very little compassion for people who say, I spent all this money on my house and my condo, and they're driving me crazy, and I haven't... You've got the time. You have the time. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning, the phone still works. The emails still work. And I'm telling you, because you and I have had this conversation before, but I want the people out there in TV land to understand that it's 24 hours a day you can call on that line. Nobody's going to trace it down. You can leave an email at the office for Ryan for the license. He's got, you know, the guy's chasing around trying to get people to pick up their licenses and everything. I think that anybody that's come here before and addressed us, we have tried to react in a reasonable manner. We just never just thrown it out the window. But we can't do anything unless you tell us.
Well, we will get individuals to send messages, to send letters, to send emails, so that you can see the volume of complaints and the concern that downtown citizens have. I think one of the solutions, and I'm not sure, I don't want to point any fingers, because a lot of times what happens that people coming into downtown for the last call have already been drinking. I see evidence of beer bottles on the street. That's not materials that would come out of the establishments themselves. These are people who are drinking in their car.
Out of the trunk of their car.
Yep. I mean, it's litter to be cleaned up. I'd like to have them arrested for littering too. But one of the things that if the businesses who are the attractive nuisance, it's like a swimming pool without a fence around it. If they don't start doing something to help control the problem, I really think the closing hours should be pushed back on the problem establishments.
Mr. Green, can I ask you, did you get a chance to review this report?
I went to the initial meeting with the police superintendent, yes.
Okay. I mean, you know that several of the reports come from the bars calling for assistance to deal with individuals who have been refused entry.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Individuals who are being asked to be removed because they're intoxicated or because they're belligerent, right?
And I think that's laudable.
Okay.
But I also say, why is that drunken person going to that establishment? What's so attractive about the establishment?
Well, there's a lot to like about Lowell.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a blow-in. My wife and I moved here almost 7 years ago. We lived in the city, we lived in downtown Boston, liked the city. There's a lot of things to like about cities. You deal with the dust and the warts, but there are times when, you know, you've heard me complain before in the past, there's been improvements, and now we have sliding. And I think the other thing that I would say is that for us to rely on the limited resources of the police department at the expense of other parts of the city is something we should really think, but let's put this expense back on to the people who are making money from the problems. So, you know, I'll work with you. We'll get people to provide you with the ammunition you need as far as complaints so that you have individuals. A lot of times they rely on us in the neighborhood association to bring the concerns forward simply because they can't be here in person. So
I will address the issue on being here in person. I know that this is a 3 o'clock meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I know because I'm here for the meetings, which means I leave work early to get here for them every time we have them. I know it's inconvenient, but I also know that when people need to pay their tickets, they manage to get to City Hall during City Hall's business hours. When people need to pay their taxes, they manage to get to City Hall during City Hall's business hours. When they need something at the clerk's office, they get here during business hours. When they need to interact with the city, they get here during business hours. So why should the License Commission not be shown the same consideration of dealing with it during its business hours that every other department is? I mean, it's not a question that I'm looking for an answer to. It's just our position on it is that we're here during the business hours just like the rest of the city is. And I appreciate it's difficult. I know it is. I take the time off myself.
Okay. Well, that's something maybe we want to address with the city council to change the hours. And, you know, it's one of the biggest complaints that a lot of the neighbors have is the time.
If it's important enough to pay a ticket, it's important enough to come here. I think it's
you
a
know,
way
your house is your biggest investment.
Yeah.
Your house, you know, your family's first, then your house. Your house or your home or your condo is your biggest investment. I refuse to believe that people can't take a couple hours off and say to their boss, look, next Thursday at this time, I have to be in Lowell at a hearing about my property, okay?
Yep.
And I mean, so they take a couple of hours off. I'm not trying to be unreasonable.
Good. With
But
the license.
you're here and you're taking the time out of your life to represent all these other people, and they're cheering you on. They're saying, go get him, Steve. Great day, baby, go get him. Take the day, yeah, sure. Don't ask me to do it, though. You're going to fight my battle for me. No, it doesn't work that way.
It's the classic free rider analysis.
Well,
You know.
okay, but again, a lot of people don't get back till 5:30, 6:30, so that's one of the challenges. I recognize, and we're getting better about the agendas coming out earlier so that people have some opportunity to do a little rescheduling. But that is a common problem.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity
You're
to talk
welcome.
to you.
Thanks, Steve. Anybody else want to speak? No, we'll let Chief, you got something else you want to say before I get?
Right. Just one other thing, you know, we did also send a report on the Super Bowl restaurant.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure we cover
I'm
that
going
as
to
well.
be talking about that in a second,
Okay,
right here.
very good. Thank you.
Okay?
Chief, I had one thing. I know about 2 years ago, we kicked around the idea, or at least it was proposed and it was going to be looked into as to feasibility, and I just want your thoughts on whether you think it would help. But if we actually were to get the names of all the individuals who are involved in these disturbances and have the police department serve them with no trespass orders on any licensed establishment, meaning you get into a trouble, you assault somebody in a bar, that's it. You don't go to any place in the city of Lowell that serves alcohol. And we publish a list of the names, we keep it online, we keep their mugshots from booking, we make that all available to the bar owners, and we make it available. And if the police see any of these people in any institution that serves a drink, that's it. They can arrest them for trespass, whether the bar owner invites them in or not, because they'd be barred by the License Commission. Do you think that would help as a law enforcement tool?
I think we'd have
so that
to
we
look
don't
at-
have repeat offenders?
Yeah, I think we'd have to look into that. There might be Corey implications to that particular thing, particularly if they've been arrested. So having that information available to non-law enforcement personnel at the various, let's say someone gets arrested at the Blue Shamrock and now shows up at Bryans Ivy Hall, I'm not sure if it would be legally allowable to have Bryans Ivy Hall to have a list of names and photographs of individuals. There might be some Corey implications, as I said, but we could look at that as a possibility. I think that the law department may have a chance to review that. I'm just not sure if that would be helpful. But
Well, even if we didn't give it out to the individual bars, just if we could serve a no trespass order on them, and any of your officers who are downtown who see them, whether they're downtown, whether they go to the 99 for lunch, okay? You get into a fight, you start these problems, you get arrested in a liquor establishment, that's it. You never set foot in another one in the city of Lowell,
Yeah,
period. And if we publish that, maybe we won't have these people coming down here
might be a
saying,
tough,
I want to go fight.
that might be a tough one. I'm not sure if you could ban someone from every place in the city based on an incident at another location. I'm just not
I
sure.
would venture to say, Chief, that if you kept track of these people, they're the same people again and again and again. This isn't 1 week, this 25, and next week, that 25. Unfortunately,
I don't know if that's correct, Mr. Bayless. I would have to look at
there are
that.
people that go out just like people who go out to buy drugs or who know that a certain establishment will serve a minor, and those people will migrate to that place. There are people that go out and they're looking for a fight, and they're going to go somewhere where they can find one. It's that simple, okay? This does not, okay? Let me start first, and then I'll shut my mouth. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the Super Bowl. We have had constantly a problem with the Super Bowl. We had just had them in. They've only been in 4 times, and you give us a paper saying there's 30 times you've had to send police down there. 30 times. We had 4 complaints. Now, we cannot slam the Super Bowl the first time they come in because they got caught with some minor or whatever. They are right now looking at a week. Is it a week? They did 2 weeks.
They just finished a 2 weeks.
We did them a 2-week suspension, okay? And if you want to make this work, it has to work the way it's dictated by the ABCC out of Boston. And they say you've got to give them a warning, you've got to give them, you just can't shut them down. Now, this is a shooting. This is bullets and guns. And I am amazed that they're still open. I would have thought for public safety, somebody would have shut them down and called the License Commission and say, hey guys, we need to have a meeting Monday morning or Monday about this thing. And this is what happened over the weekend. And some police damn near got killed. I mean, this is guns now. This has gone beyond just somebody drinking or a minor getting in with a false ID, okay? But this has been my argument all along with this. These kids watch all this crap on TV. They are not the least bit of afraid of you or me. They could care less, okay? You don't bring them down to, you take them down to cell. You've got to, why is the what's the one down the street? The bar down the street. Looks like Kelly's. I used to bring my grandson there. 8 years old, I used to bring my grandson in there on a Saturday and have a hamburger and let him play a couple of video games. They didn't have a college dorm in downtown back then. And I'm not saying that it's the UMass college kids, but and I know the kids go off to college and, hey, I'm staying here, come on down for the weekend. And so they come into another community and they go crazy. And we see it all the time. You see it on television when the police are, when at the Mardi Gras with New Orleans, and they're stopping people, and they're saying, you know, where are you, you wouldn't do that in your own hometown, would you? Expose yourself? No. But I'm in Lowell, and I live in Westford or Chelmsford or somewhere else. So, you know, all of a sudden I can go crazy. And the only way we're going to be able to stop that is to pick them up, arrest them, and pardon the expression, but harass them. Put them in a cell and leave them there. We'll get to the paperwork later. We're really busy. I'll guarantee you, you pick up the first young lady in downtown Lowell passing a false ID, and you take her in the station and lock her up and keep her there. And when you call the parents and say, you know, we got Janie here. We picked her up. She was in a bar with minors. You should also say, and you can leave her here if you want to, and come and get her tomorrow. Let her have a night. And I think there's an awful lot of parents out there that would take advantage of that and say, you know, it might be a hell of a lot better for my child to sleep in a jail cell overnight than in a morgue at a funeral home. Probably would be a little bit more acceptable. And I'm not saying that that's not your fault, but I'm saying we can't. We got things in here. Some guy passed a counterfeit $10 bill. It's a police call. What's that got to do with alcohol?
Mr. Bayless, first of all, if you suggest that concentrating on that one incident is the premise of this report, you're mistaken.
Chief,
please understand that why I gave you this report about the Super Bowl and downtown is to tell you and give you a sample of what is going on in downtown Lowell and at that restaurant.
Right, but we sit here, Chief,
please understand that this is the flavor of the activity in downtown Lowell. And sure, there are times when there's a counterfeit bill passed, which is not a disorder crime. And there are times when the police are called because there is someone at the front door who's intoxicated and shouldn't be admitted. And I admit all that. However, if you look at the totality of this report, both on the Super Bowl and downtown, you have to recognize, you must recognize that this is an issue that is very problematic, and the resources of the police department and the suggestions you made are not getting the job done. We have done all those things. We have made arrests. We have done underage stings. We have done everything we can in our power to resolve this. Now I'm asking for your help to collaborate with you, to make suggestions, to make some changes with these establishments so this does not occur anymore. That is why I'm here today. So I'm asking you to work with the police department on this, to be our collaborators, to work with the bar owners, and I have no problem with those bar owners. I am not anti-bar owner whatsoever. I want to work with them, and I want to give everybody an opportunity to make this right. And that's why I'm here today, and that's why I'm presenting this information to you. As far as the Super Bowl, 30 incidents, I understand it, but most of those incidents were not issues where we could actually request in front of the License Commission that their license be suspended. It simply did not exist. And even this gunfire issue that occurred over the weekend, we could not find any evidence of an issue that we could bring to your attention to request their license be suspended. We wouldn't do that. We would only do it
in their parking lot, didn't it?
In the parking lot, that's correct,
They've had
sir.
a track record of
That's
trouble.
also correct. That's correct. The track record of serious
You don't consider
issues.
them an attractive nuisance, Chief?
Well, again, you know,
Aren't they bringing in the wrong element into the community?
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
We have talked to them about this before in the past. The last time they were here, we tried to make them understand that they've gotten themselves tied into the wrong element.
That's correct.
And the wrong amount of people are coming to the place. And I'm saying, I took offense to this, and I'll tell you honestly why. Okay? This makes the License Commission look stupid. All of these complaints that supposedly are part of this crime analysis, if any of these had been brought before us, I had always said, and I think that any of the testimony I have ever given or the department has ever given before us, I have always tried to give the benefit of the doubt to the department and support the police officer. I know you haven't got an easy job. You don't need to tell me. I know. I know what the people are like out there. I owned a business myself. It wasn't anything like that, but people today are not the same. They're not the same. Years ago, you went into a bar and you hit somebody and they spilt the beer, they'd say, oh, excuse me, and they'd wipe it, let me buy you another one. Today, they're going to whack you upside the head with a beer bottle, okay? It's just a difference. The violence that has occurred in our society has got to be met with stiffer penalties. in order to make people sit up and listen. If a guy decides he's that gross that he's going to throw up all over the people's stairs, I mean, you can't have a policeman standing there obviously watching, you know, but he's got to know before he does that, boy, if he gets caught, he's going to pay near and dear, you know, or urinating in the hall, or any of those things. We have to establish a hard and fast and brutal law in all community that can react. Yes, some of these bar owners, they know how I feel. I've told them point blank, they're not infallible, but they're not all wrong either. They're trying to make a living. Most of them shut the place off at 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if they're still doing it, but we've encouraged them many, many times in the past that at 1 o'clock, to close the door and don't let anybody in, because they do. Maybe some night a drug or alcohol stop on the cars coming into Lowell. Instead of grabbing the guys going out of Lowell, grab the ones coming in at 1 o'clock or 5 that are trying to race in here to grab that one last drink. I can't imagine that these guys are that stupid that they're going to take, I don't know, what do you get for a beer now? $2? They're laughing at me. I don't even know what you get for a beer. $3.50. No wonder I don't drink. But you know, they're going to grab that last beer for $3.50 and risk everything they've worked for. Because certainly they put in a lot of hours. Owning a business today is no joy whatsoever. And
Well,
owning
let
a
me
bar
say
room
this,
is
Mr.
10
Bayless.
times worse.
There was no intent.
Huh?
There was no intent whatsoever
I wish
to make
you
the
know,
License
you had a
Commission
meeting
look
with
stupid.
The neighborhood group, you could have said, could we get together and have a meeting with the License Commission before I put this out to the newspaper? The newspaper
Well, first
writes
of all,
it up and they think...
I didn't put it out to the newspaper. I gave that report to the city council. As I explained to you before,
And
once
it
the
went
city
to the
council
newspaper.
gets that report, it automatically goes to the newspaper.
But we could've
Another
gotten-
point I'd like to make is that we can provide you with a quarterly report on the activity in downtown and throughout the city that you can actually understand and appreciate and get a flavor for what's happening at these liquor establishments in the city of Lowell, so that you won't be blindsided, so to speak. And I can make that happen if you would like, if that's
That makes
that's
sense.
up to you.
If we had it maybe before the newspaper got it, maybe we could get it, look at it, and maybe have some questions and say, why didn't you bring this one forward on I mean, I looked at 30 complaints at the Super Bowl, and Captain Webb will tell you that I have sat here and said many, many, many times, don't wait until you get 10 or 15 complaints to bring one forward. Most of these guys have not got the intelligence to realize that you're trying to help them when you go in there and you say, look, this is what you got to do. So you don't write it up. You just give the guy a break. It's like speeding.
Right.
You get pulled over, the state trooper comes over, he says, where are you going so fast? Oh, slow down. I'm giving you a break, slow down. What happened? You just take off and go again. You didn't get a ticket.
You mentioned earlier the issues involving the ABCC and their regulations. One very effective strategy that you can use, and you have used, particularly with the Super Bowl and other places, is the rollback of the hours. You can do that for a period of time, and there is no appeal to the ABCC.
Right. We've
You
done
can
that,
roll back
Chief.
those hours, and you can do that with establishments that are creating these disturbances
that.
Chief.
for a period of time and close them at 12 or 1 o'clock.
Chief, I know because I've been here, but we have done that on several occasions when there's been some incident brought to us. Here, we're being handed a report with 100 incidents that seem to have spread out from like New Year's to present.
Right.
It would have been nice if we got them as they were coming along. I guess that's the chairman's point, is that it would be nice if we heard about these things when they happened instead of waiting until August to drop 100 of them on us at once.
Right. As I said,
have the
I can
paper know
provide
about
for
it
you a
first.
quarterly report that gives you this information if you so desire.
Maybe even earlier than quarterly. The police reports are done every day, right? We meet every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Could that be done?
Certainly, I can look into that, absolutely.
Do we have a report on the shooting this weekend or is that, now,
Shooting at the Super Bowl?
yeah,
Do you have a report?
do we have a report on it?
I don't believe so.
No.
Okay. I mean, yeah,
I think
guess-
I've been pretty quiet.
Yeah, go ahead.
I appreciate what you're trying to do and trying to alert the License Commission and the residents and everyone as to what is going on in the city. My frustration with this report in particular, what your concept, I think, is correct, but this report in particular, there are so many incidents on here, specifically that deal with an establishment, like you say, Hook Slide Kelly's, their percent change in incidents is plus 183%. But now, all three of us live in the city of Lowell. We pay taxes in the city of Lowell. We have a pretty good flavor of what's going on. I take my infant daughter and son to Hook Slide Kelly's. We go in there, we have dinner. When you look at these reports, a lot of them are the detail officer calling because the bar has complained that there's an individual that's starting a fight. The detail officer calls the police department, and that gets booked. So that looks bad on Hook Slide Kelly's. But actually, they're taking money out of their pocket to pay a police officer to put money in their pocket. And it's hurting their business. I think a report like this does a disservice because if I was the owner of Hook Slide Kelly's, I'd say I'm not gonna get a detail officer because this just makes my establishment look bad. I'm not gonna call anybody. I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. Where in this case, they took a proactive stance. They got a detail officer. If there's an issue, I saw in the paper their bouncers helped out the police this weekend. If there's an issue, they call the police. And it's just the perception. It may not be the truth, and I understand you're trying to explain the report, but the perception is that they have this out-of-control establishment looking at these incidents that were reported, but these incidents are reported by a detail officer who's being hired for them to prevent these incidents. So, you know, my understanding of a police officer, their first duty is to de-escalate the situation. I think the police department does an excellent job in the city of Lowell of doing that. But it doesn't seem like they're doing a wonderful job as detail officers.
Well, let me respond to that. What we have recognized, and if I compare some establishments mentioned in this report to some of the others that are not mentioned here, Garcia Brogans, for example, hires a police detail and does on a regular basis. Garcia Brogans does not hit our radar screen. They have a business plan that prevents this type of activity from taking place. With or without a detail officer, that establishment does not cause any concern for us. Hook Slide Kelly's, on the other hand, with a detail officer, continues to be an issue. And I think that the issue, regardless of the presence of a detail officer, is the over-serving, the intoxication. And that is, if you've been in Hook Slide Kelly's late at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, it is a very large crowd, inside and outside the establishment. When I say outside, I mean on their patio and in that area between Merrimack Street and Page Street. So that is very difficult for one officer to really comprehend or recognize how many people are being overserved or are being getting to the point that they're intoxicated. So that makes it difficult.
Can I just interrupt you for a second? On this report, you're utilizing 74 Merrimack Street as
Right.
the midpoint. Where is 74 Merrimack Street? Do you?
74 Merrimack Street basically is in the vicinity of Merrimack and Central Street.
Okay.
That's
Now,
the radius.
does Garcia Brogans fall within the 500 feet? My guess would be no.
No, it does not.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
But
so they're
again,
not, would they be on this report if it was 1,000 feet?
No.
Potentially, I don't know, but I will tell you that Garcia Brogans is not a location that is a problematic issue for us. We just don't have the activity level there that we have in some of the other
The only other thing that I
places.
think we need to clarify, Chief, and I think that my fellow commissioners will agree with me on this, and you know, we were, naturally, we called each other when we saw it in the newspaper, and, you know, a little bit upset about, you know, the paper coming out with something that made us look like we were really a bunch of dummies here, but you know, we have sat here, and I think Captain Webb would attest to the fact that I scream at people. I scream at them. Call the police. Make sure your cell phone has the police number. Don't call 911. The moment you think something's wrong, call the police. Get the police there before it gets out of hand. If the policeman comes in and there's nothing wrong, don't worry about it. It's not going to be counted against you. They're going to be mad if they, because I'm concerned not only about the people, the business owners, but the policeman walking into the middle of a melee. If he could have stopped it, if somebody had called him, a half hour, 45 minutes earlier. And Jack, don't I always say that? Call the police.
Quite frequently.
Please?
Frequently.
Frequently. So now I feel like I've led these guys, and I know these two guys feel the same way because we've talked about it. I've really led them down the path of suicide here because you've got a detail officer who calls the police, and now it's on the report that, they called in. And I'm not saying that some of the things shouldn't, but I'm saying that.
Well,
That's what
again,
we
I
told
guess
them to
my
do.
question is, why is it that some establishments need
Because some
police
of them
intervention
have a appeal-
more often, many more times,
Because
than others
some
that
of them
don't?
appeal to a more younger group.
I guess if you were to do a comparison between, say, I guess you threw out Hookside Kelly's and Garcia Brogan's. The average person going to Garcia Brogan's is 40 plus, all right? It's an old crowd. I know because when I go there, I feel young, okay? It's an older crowd. It's not a younger crowd that goes there. Your younger people who are associated with Middlesex Community College and UMass Lowell tend to go more toward the downtown than toward the fringe. The older people know that you can avoid all the DUI checkpoints if you go to Garcia Brogan's and get right on the connector and head out of town, all right? They know that, all right? Young kids, not as bright. I think when you're comparing apples and oranges when you're comparing the crowd. I mean, that's like the same as saying, why doesn't the Outback have that problem? And, well, it's just a different crowd that goes there. Now, I mean, if we want to get the colleges involved, I think that would be great, all right? Because like you're saying, a lot of these people are from out of town, and Lowell is a destination city. We have a lot of kids who come in from out of town to go to school. As we're building more and more dormitories here, we're getting more and more out-of-state and out-of-town students moving here. All right, we can be picking people up who've got New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania licenses, and who live in those states but are here as students. And I trust you when you tell me that 46% of the crime is from non-Lowellians. I mean, there's even a rowdy crowd of kids that come out of like just the surrounding towns just to come down. I mean, so I'd like to actually see if we can focus on that. And maybe as part of this plan you're proposing, you could get the representatives from the schools to come in and work with us on something that we can do to curb, like, I guess one of the things I saw that's listed as an incident at Hookside Kelly's was that while the detail officer was there, they noticed a person who was underage trying to use a fake ID, and that's in the report here as one of the incidents. Maybe we could work with the schools to try and combat that, or have some kind of a program where if they're arrested, they're expelled, or some disciplinary actions taken through the schools as well.
Right.
That would put a little more bite into, what do they care if they're in their second semester of their senior year and going to graduate anyway, right?
Right.
So maybe we could work together to do that.
Sure.
Is that something
No,
you'd be willing to do?
Absolutely. I'm more than willing to work with anybody on these issues. I will say that, again, I just want to reiterate that my concerns about the people from out of town is centered around that 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock time frame. And that's when I see that really that becomes, if you talk to the officers who work these details, that is when I see these problems escalate, and that's what we have to concentrate on. And I think, again, people are coming from out of the city of Lowell, drinking in other towns, into Lowell for that last call.
And do you think that when we're having the statistician run these numbers, we could get a breakdown for how many of these incidents are happening post 1 o'clock?
Sure.
And
Yeah, I can tell you that
how many
these
of them
incidents out on
involve
the street, the vast majority are at the time when the bar is closed
Can
at
we
2
get
o'clock in the morning.
Can we get
Not
a
attributed
revised
to one establishment.
Okay, and can we get a revised report that basically kind of is consistent with what we've been preaching? I guess, and I understand Chairman Bayless's frustration that he tells people, call the police, we're not going to count it against you, and then we get a report counting it against him for calling the police. If we were to take out the number of incidents where it was the detail officer or where they were responding to requests from the bar staff, could we get a revised report on that to see what we're looking at as far as unreported crime or crime that's not being reported by the bars?
So you want a report that would
I'm just trying
eliminate
to look at the
all
numbers.
detail officer interactions?
I'm trying to look at the numbers and to see how much is not. I mean, we see that there's a real increase in the number of crimes that are being reported and the number of arrests being made. And I'm trying to see what the correlation is between are we having more crime, or are we just simply having better enforcement actions by these establishments in calling the police to respond to crime that was there last year but just went unreported? I mean, are they doing a better job of calling it in? Are they doing a better job of having detail officers down there to respond? All right, is this stuff that wouldn't have resulted in an arrest last year because nobody was around and nobody made the call? I mean, or is it just that people have this year for some reason become spontaneously
Those places have been hiring
more
details,
violent?
that hired details for a significant amount of time. And they were hiring them last year, and they're hiring them this year. The problem still is getting worse. But I can look in that.
Okay.
The
I
other thing,
appreciate
why
it.
don't you, I don't know, how do you set up one of those roadblock things where you stop cars for drunk drivers? I'm just, really, I was serious. I know it sounds crazy, but
The
we ever think of
sobriety
trying to get 'em coming
checkpoints,
in?
you're talking about a sobriety checkpoint?
Yes.
Yes.
A sobriety checkpoint is a collaboration between the Massachusetts State Police and the Lowell Police Department. They are, the state police really takes the lead when it comes to putting these programs together.
Okay.
They have established them throughout the Commonwealth. And Lowell, interestingly enough, if you use the terminology that the major uses, it is the most successful roadblock in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Now, I don't necessarily equate success with more arrests at the Lowell roadblock than any other roadblock in the Commonwealth. And that's what he has said before, and he's actually said that publicly here at the Public Safety Subcommittee. That seems to me, once again, to be an indication that there is a number of people coming from outside the city to drink and leaving and are intoxicated, driving back to the communities that they come from.
I know, Chief, but what I'm trying to, my thought there was, instead of, I'm sure you're gonna have people going out of town that have been drinking, but, is there any way you could approach the state police and get, obviously some of the local police, and on a given night, on a Friday night or a Saturday night, set up a roadblock, like on Gorham Street and whatnot, to see how many people are coming into town drunk? See, this is one of the things that a lot of these bar owners, you can't seem to make them understand. We understand the idea that 2 o'clock is a critical time. But we also understand that they should be smart enough to protect themselves. They can just refuse to serve somebody. And why that doesn't happen, I don't know. But I would be interested in trying to get some kind of numbers of how many people are leaving bars in, let's not name any towns, just surrounding towns trying to come into Lowell for that last drink.
Tewksbury.
Whoa, easy.
Okay.
Hey.
But yeah, if we could look at that, like actually trying to stop these. If you're saying that the destination is people coming in for that 1 o'clock, is there some way we could try and cut down on the number of people coming in at 1 o'clock?
We could, if every bar in the city agreed that at 1 o'clock, no one else would enter the establishment. That is not happening right now.
Well,
If they said, at 1 o'clock, we shut our doors,
right.
and no one else is coming in,
You guys listening?
the people who are in here now can stay, and if you leave, you're out,
Yep.
and that would create, I think,
Has
a
that
much
ever been
more-
said before, Jack? Stop drinking, stop anybody from coming in after 1?
I've heard that mentioned.
A few times, huh? Yeah.
But,
I know,
that's,
I mean,
that's a
but
voluntary
the thing.
compliance
So what we
issue
need to
here.
do now is we need to look at it, and they need to know, that we're gonna get this report from now on, and it's gonna give us track. But as I said, maybe we can just, maybe they'll be smart enough, maybe they won't. Anybody got anything else? I want to thank you for coming, Chief. I appreciate it. I appreciate your explanation on the, we're here to serve, just like you. I mean, we're here to make Lowell a better community. There used to be a guy that, on the force, that used to always say, Walt, never forget, they're not going to church. That was a very famous saying by one of the police officers. They're not going to church. And they're not. They're going out to have a good time. And the folks that move into a downtown area understand that. But the vulgarity, the going to the bathroom and all that, I can easily align myself with them without any problem at all. I wouldn't want my mother or my father or any of them living through that. So if we can do something to help it, we can help it. I'm pro-business, that's my nature, okay? So we want to give these guys, and it's a good thing you did bring out this, so we want to give, you know, if you fellas were smart, you'd form a little group to get together, no drinking, maybe a couple of bologna sandwiches, sit down and talk. I know you each try to outdo each other with some idea to get people to come to your bar rather than the other guy's bar. But you know what? At some point in time, you're going to have to level that playing field. And you don't want one clown being the reason that everybody gets punished. Okay? And I'm glad we ironed it out, because I did feel very guilty about the fact about telling you all the time to call. Okay? Anything else? Anything, Jack? You got something you'd like to say, sir? Come right up to the speak. Introduce yourself. Give you.
My name is Brian McInerney. I'm the owner and manager of Hooks Like Kelly's.
Yeah.
And I didn't come prepared to speak today.
Pull it down so we can hear you.
There was a couple things that were mentioned today that I wanted to make some corrections on. We received the report at the last downtown meeting from March until June 30th. At that point, it showed that my establishment had 4 incidences. What I had done, I hired detail every Thursday, every Friday, and every Saturday night. So the previous ownership only hired on Thursdays. They never had a detail on Friday and Saturday night. So I increased it Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The recommendation of the police department was, you know what, Brian, it gets bigger in the summertime, there's more people outside, you should have another detail. Absolutely. I hired another detail. So right now, on record, I hire Thursday, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and that started on July 1st. From July 1st to July 28th, I had an increase of incidents of 300% with the detail officers at that time. So from March until June 30th, I had 4. From July 1st to July 28th, I had 11 in that short a time, and they're all with the detail officers. So on the report that you have in front of you, unfortunately, that aren't the dates on the incidences, but they can be researched. So one of the things I want to say is being in the paper and my name being brought up constantly, we're working really hard to have a very safe, professional establishment. A few rules that I have: 10 security guys, 2 details. Doors are closed at 1 o'clock, last drink is 1:15. Everybody's on the street at 1:30, the bar is shut down, closed at 1:30, and any detail can attest that that's what we're doing on a consistent basis every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Last weekend, when we were brought up again in the newspaper about assisting the detail officer, it was 2:30. We were all gone. My keys are in my hand, we're walking out the door, and 2 bouncers, because we always walk out in groups of 3 to protect ourselves. The officers needed assistance, so we helped them. And it's one of the things that we want to be a good, solid part of the community. I will extend my hand and take any policy and recommendation and really take it to heart. And if it makes sense, absolutely. The business does well, we want to continue to do well, but we want to continue to have a good name. But I don't want parents reading this saying, "Why are you going to this place? You're going to get hurt there." It's not the truth. You're not going to get hurt there. We take very good care of our patrons. And I was from May 15th until I apologize, the end of April through May 15th, I had 5 vice stings that came in and carded every person in my bar 5 weeks in a row. 5 weeks in a row. And at that point, they were observing how I was serving alcohol the whole time to all the bars that I have inside the establishment. And not one officer at that time stated that, "Hey, I think you're doing a little too much," or "You're pushing a little bit too much." That is absolutely not the case. Everybody is tip certified, and we're very well trained. So, thank you for appreciate it.
Mr. McInerney, we appreciate it. And that was, I'm just saying, that was one of my questions, was whether whether the increase in the number of reports is a result of better efforts by the bars to hire details to have more reporting, or whether it's a result of, do we just have a whole bunch of people who went crazy this year as opposed to last year, resulting in this large jump? But I appreciate your input.
We've increased, it's been busier for sure, and I'm the culprit on 9 of those 15 incidents of me actually going to the detail to say we have a 3-man rule. We can't throw the guy out under his arms and into the dumpster anymore. Those days are gone. You can't run a business like that. The cell phones, the cameras, you just can't. So what you have to do is surround the guy with 3 people and say, "You gotta go. You're either gonna come with me or you're gonna go with the detail." And a lot of the guys just don't use their better judgment. And the detail officer gives them one warning, and by the second warning, if they're not going, they're gonna leave in handcuffs. And we like to set a precedent. I don't want to be here, I don't want to be in the newspaper, but I'm certainly not going to have somebody have a roadhouse bar where people are having these rodeo fights and pouring out in the streets of Merrimack. Just not going to happen while I'm there.
What is the policy, if you're on the door, you have a door, you have the machine?
Do we have the
That
machine, the
ID
Verifone?
machine?
Yes, we have the Verifone,
You have
but
a
we've
verifier?
we were told by the ABCC they don't work anymore because the IDs have become so good that you're going to get
yeah.
off your toes.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen, you'll scan and you're not on your toes. And that's what's going to end up happening. However, we have hired a gentleman by the name of Jim Staples. He's a consultant to help even me do better security.
Yeah.
So he's taken it on and he's already done an assessment of the bar and the things that I need to do. He is suggesting a piece of equipment that I can use, which we're certainly going to get. It's $2,500. And it does scan the ID, and it's a better percentage of what you're going to capture.
Okay, but I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, for the viewing public, I think it's important. What do you do if somebody comes to the door and they have a false ID? And your door, the guy at the door sees it's a false ID. What do you do?
I confiscate it.
You
At the last
confiscate
meeting,
it,
I
and-
gave the
and-
chief
and you
all
let
my
him
false
go?
IDs.
And you let the guy go, the person go?
Yeah, I can't arrest them.
Can the police, chief, if the police were there on a detail and they had a false, could he arrest the guy right there? You know, maybe that's something to start if we could. I don't know. You know, I mean, I just think myself, somehow or another, we got to force people to take responsibility for themselves. And, you know, if they got dragged off to jail and booked and held over or whatever, you know, it'd be a little inconvenient and maybe a little embarrassing. And you know what? Maybe we could get the Lowell Sun to publish the names and where they live and let the mom and pop know, you know, hey, Junior's at it. Okay, he's not just watching, what do you call the thing, the computer thing? The video game thing, whatever. I don't know. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That it? That it? Thank you very much. We appreciate your attendance, folks. Mr. Green will be looking to see you.
Keep the chair warm.
Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Coming home, Benjamin.